This is the Telson Toxin 3 to 18 power first focal plane scope with Japanese ED glass. You've never heard of Telson optics? Well, neither have I, but if this is the first scope from this brand, I think it's a name we'll all soon be familiar with. So let's take a closer look. Alright, this is going to be an unusual unboxing because this isn't the usual box you will get with the Telson Toxin. Now this is a brand new company out of Texas, and their scopes are made in Japan with Japanese ED glass, so this is top quality stuff. This is their new Toxin. It is a 3 to 18 power by 50 millimeter objective lens scope. And let's just take a closer look at this. Now, as I was mentioning, this is not the usual box. This is just a sample box that they shipped it with. So I don't know what you will actually get in the full retail box. What came in the box is some Allen keys and a plastic plug and some lens covers from Tenebrek. So I don't even know if these will come with the actual retail version or not, but just to let you know that that is what they ship with. Oh, I should also mention that they also shipped it with these scope rings already attached and mounted. They look like loopholed scope rings, but I'm not absolutely sure if they are, or who makes them, or even if they will come with scope rings included or not. So just want to let you know that's what I got. But let's take a closer look at this. It has an illuminated first focal plane reticle, and there are 6 steps in the illumination here, and they are indexing with an off in between. It is powered by a 2032 coin battery. It has its parallax focus, which turns very smoothly. And there's no numbers on here. It just goes, the only ones that are listed are 15 to infinity. But that's fine, to be perfectly honest. Anybody who knows the numbers you'll ever see on the parallax focus are just sort of approximates, because the actual focus will depend on both your eye and also how you have your diopter set. And let's just take a look at these turrets here. And they are, zero stop is set. And that is a nice solid feeling zero stop with a repeatable 0. And you can hear, of course, you get very loud and very tactile positive on the clicks here. And no slop in between each of the clicks. And I like this sort of stair-step sawtooth pattern, because it really does help with seeing where your half mark is. And I think Loophole also does that kind of design on the numbering. It is 10 mils per rotation, and it is 0.1 mil per click. And it does also have a turn indicator. So after one full revolution, once you get into your second revolution, it pops up. And I do appreciate the fact that it's red, because it's much more visible, especially that way you don't have to break your cheek weld just looking up from the scope. You can see that the red little pin pops up. So that's very nice. And this resets once you have your 0 set. You just unscrew these set screws at the bottom here, lift up your turret, and then underneath you will find a little pin that is your 0 stop. It connects to a little cup that switches on the underside of the turret. And our windage turns just as well. Nice, loud, tactile, positive, and definite clicks, and no slop. Yeah, and these also reset here. And I do appreciate that they also took the extra effort to put a visual indicator for where the set screws are. That's a nice little touch here. And our magnification ring turns very smoothly and it does have a built-in throw lever. Now there's a little set screw there. You can unscrew that with, it does have a small sized Allen key. You just unscrew that little worm screw, and then your cool little diamond shaped throw lever will pop off, and you can put in that little plastic plug that it came with to fill up the hole in there, and that if you don't want to run with a throw lever. And honestly, you don't really need it. This turns with just the right amount of resistance, so you don't really need it. And our diopter, it turns very smoothly. Very nice. So overall, this is a nicely constructed scope, but of course, we'll have to see how it looks through the glass, which is even more important. We'll do that next. Before we get started with the test, I'd just like to take a quick break here to talk about this episode's sponsor, Aura. For the cost of just a VPN, I'm getting a whole suite of security services, including $1 million in identity theft insurance, and they're even removing me from those damn data broker listings. Use my link, aura.com/moondog, and you can try them for 14 days, free. And if you use that link, you're helping to support this channel. You know, identity fraud is a real thing, and with AI, it's all too easy to spoof your identity. That's why you should try out Aura. All right, let's get back to the tests. We are looking through the Telson Toxic at the peak of Mount Davidson, approximately 1,400 yards away, through the scope at its lowest power of 3 to give us our best overall image. And you can compare the image you're seeing inside of the glass to the world outside of the glass to compare any sort of color shifting and brightness changes. And as we increase magnification, we're just going to increase all the faults in the glass. But what we're seeing right now is a very clean, bright, sharp image. Now let's bring this up to halfway in its magnification range to 9 power. And here you'll usually see a little bit of chromatic aberration in the silhouette of the tree line against the sky, but this has Japanese ED glass, which really minimizes the amount of chromatic aberration. And all scopes have chromatic aberration, just matters how much. And this is a really good image, good sharpness from edge to edge. Now let's bring this all the way up to its maximum magnification of 18 power. Take a look now. We've lost a little bit of light, but still good, sharp, clean, and bright. And you saw that first plane reticle enlarge. And we can see a trail marker sign on the top of the hill there. It's that white object to the right and above the center crosshairs, which is a 3-foot-ish steel trail marker sign on top of a pole, which is a good proxy for an IPSC target at this distance. All right, I've pointed the scope to a shaded tree nearby so we can take a look at the illumination. I'm going to bring it all the way to a maximum of 6, and I'll put my hand over the bell just so you can see what's illuminated. It's really just this very center third of the crosshairs with a little bit of a glow on the Christmas tree below that. All right, we're at the range with the Telson, and we're looking at our reference targets downrange at 100 yards with the scope set at its lowest power of 3. And this is a good opportunity to check our range of adjustments. Let's start with our elevation, and let's see where this tops out. And that's the very top, and you can see a little bit of the eye box peeking in there at the very top with that black curve. Now let's bring this all the way to the bottom, and that is the very bottom. All right, let's dial this back to its factory 0 on the turret. Now let's check out our windage, and that's it. Oh, okay, not even a full rotation of the turret there, and that's the farthest left. Okay, let's dial that back to factory 0. Now let's bring up our magnification all the way to its maximum of 18. And oh, we're right lined up to the bottom left corner cross on that grid there, which is now it's a good opportunity to do a box test. Now if I dial in about 2 mils on about 2.1 mils actually, that puts us right into the center of the next corner grid target on the top left. And if I dial in the equivalent amount on our windage, there, that puts us into the next corner. Now if I dial back our elevation back to factory 0, that puts us not quite in the center of our next corner, but that could be the grid target's not lined up exactly. But let's see what happens when I dial back our elevation to 0, and that puts us back to where we started. So yeah, this did pass the box test. So opportunity here to do our nipple twister test, and where I'm going to turn the heck out of these turrets and see if they come back to their factory, or come back to their original starting point on the reticle when I turn the turrets back to factory 0. Now this test was invented by my buddy Cyclops Joe, and we're going to give our windage a little love as well. Alright, let's see if this comes back to its original aim point. If I dial this back to factory 0 on our elevation, and now let's bring this back to 0, and that's back to where we started. So yeah, this passes the nipple twister test. Alright, I've lifted up my scope so we can clear the lower half of our reference targets from the Christmas tree so we have a clear view. And we can take a look at the overall clarity. Now I'm seeing just a little bit of purple fringing around the outer edges of our target board. And in terms of clarity, I can make out bullet hits on the reactive sticker target on the bottom left part of our target board, along with 2 additional 22 caliber holes below that reactive sticker target. And looking at the Air Force optical resolution chart on the bottom right, I can resolve both horizontal and vertical lines down to about element 3 or 4 of group -1, which is really good. It's as good as some 24 magnification scopes that I've tested. I'd like to thank Telson for sending out the Toxin for me to I don't know about that name. Maybe they're just huge Britney fans. But name aside, this is a phenomenal scope, and if this is a good example of what kind of scopes that Telson is going to be coming out with, they will make a name for themselves. And this is not a cheap scope, but there are more expensive scopes. In fact, this probably performs as well as those really bougie European scopes that cost 2 to 3 times as much. So this was quite impressive. I was seeing detail at 100 yards that I usually only see with 24 power scopes at 18 power. So yeah, that just says the level of clarity that you're getting with this, with the Japanese ED plus glass, which I'm not sure if that means it has extra fluoride or what, but yeah, the image was just amazing. In fact, the camera didn't do it justice. Looking through this with my naked eye, it was such a bright and really color accurate image that I was seeing with my naked eye on this. So yeah, this is very impressive. And the turret's rock solid, repeatable, very just well constructed. And in terms of holding zero, I will refer you to my buddy Gun Totin Minnesotan, who just posted a video review of this exact scope, and he tested it in sub-zero Minnesota snow. So I'll include a link to his video review in this video's description. But yeah, I can't think of a harder torture test than that. So I gotta say, this is a very impressive scope. So if you're interested in picking one up, I'll include affiliate links in my full written review at moondogindustries.com. And I don't even really know who's going to be selling this. But I will update any of the affiliate links in that article once I get those details. So use those links in that article and you can help support this channel for free. It doesn't cost you anything more than not using those links. And you can always help support my efforts in creating these review videos by simply hitting the like button, the subscribe button, and notification bell buttons, because that's absolutely free. It's free to be a subscriber to my channel. So I appreciate you taking the time to press those buttons and taking the time to watch this review. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.